The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We have to realize the Democrats, their whole argument is we are going to shut down the government unless you give $1 trillion for medical benefits for illegal aliens. The major healthcare reform that we've done in this administration is we've made it harder to give your hard-earned tax dollars to medical benefits for illegal aliens. The Democrats want to undo that. And they're saying that unless you give that money to those illegal aliens, unless you give those benefits to those illegal aliens, we are going to shut down the people's government. It's such a stark contrast between two parties' priorities. We want to put the government to work for the American people first. The Democrats want to shut down the government because we won't give free benefits to illegal aliens. It's such a good, again, contrast for what the Democrats stand for and what Republicans stand for. We're not going to be taken hostage by the Democrats' desperate desire to give your tax money to illegal aliens. We're just not going to do it.
Welcome, my friends, to the Saturday Morning Vibe. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us, 800-848-9222. And we have so much on the plate this week. Yeah. Kimmel back on TV, whatever. Ratings, by the way, for that already plummeting downward, as I predicted they would. The big story, one of the big stories this week is the indictment of James Comey. And, of course, the gnashing of teeth is continuing throughout the mainstream press apparatus. In fact, Politico has a story why the case against James Comey may end in humiliation for Trump's DOJ. There's no humiliation if he has his day in court, whether it goes guilty or not guilty. He's had his day in court. And the DOJ, if they saw fit to seek an indictment, and okay. We'll see how that goes. Looking forward to catching up later on in today's program with Princess Diana, see what is on her mind. I cannot wait. Also, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, will be here with us, always. Inspirational that. And our very own Lizzie Radabali will be joining us. Always looking forward to hear what Lizzie has to say, what's on her mind, the stories that she finds out there in the wide world of news. And so many other things that I want to get to. If we can get to them all. The headlines this morning. Wow. For instance, Justice Department seeks information on Georgia DA who prosecuted Trump. That would be Frannie Willis. Supreme Court has allowed Donald Trump and the Trump administration to freeze billions of dollars in aid. You mean to tell me the president can actually be the president and decide foreign policy as presidents are supposed to do? Princess Diana sent me a text that I have not had time to explore yet. It was something that Scott Jennings said. So from Scott Jennings, I'll just read it. So you mean to tell me Michelle Obama's chief of staff hired an illegal alien with a fake degree and criminal record to be the head of public schools in Des Moines, Iowa? We'll get to that story because there were protests in Des Moines, Iowa, because ICE picked up the superintendent of schools there. And there were actually liberals are actually protesting ICE. There's a protest against ICE, of course, raging out of control. There was an incident in near Chicago where, again, they almost turned riotous and with their hatred of ICE. The FBI agents photographed for kneeling during the 2020 George Floyd protests have been dismissed. AP has a story on that, and I'm like, yeah, and what gives there? This story with Iowa's largest public school district, we are definitely going to try to find time to cover. Then there's the story that's happening in New Jersey. Ah, yes, New Jersey. The race for the governor in New Jersey. You know, before we get to all of that that's on the plate, I'd like to just take a few moments before we get back to news and just last week, folks, if you listen to the program, I don't know how it happened because I have never experienced what I experienced last week. You know, I've had a few brushes with health matters in my life. Many of you that know and have listened know that I've, had to deal with prostate cancer, which was a blessing, a huge blessing in the way that I found out about it, that I went through the NIH. And I continue to be a patient of the NIH to this day. I have nothing, despite all the stuff that happened with COVID and Fauci and the rest of it, I am still a huge advocate for the work that goes on at the National Institutes of Health in terms of their mission, which is for better health care for all Americans. That is a quick aside. But I've had that. I almost went out the door with COVID. It was very, very bad. But I have never in my life experienced what happened last week, which is I went to bed fine. I get up very, very early in the mornings to start preparing for the show. And when I got up, I tried to get out of bed and my head was spinning and I almost passed out. Like, what the hell is this? Somehow or another, I made it to be able to get to the show. My nephew helped me a lot doing some things and just to try to get me to a point where I could, but I couldn't do show prep the way that I usually do it. I mean, my head was literally swimming. I was dizzy, whatever. Don't want to get too into it, and then during the show, and Kelvin and the crew here helped out tremendously, and you guys know, because you heard what was going on during the breaks, and it was not fun. During the breaks, let me just say that there were, projectiles headed toward the trash basket during the show. And I have never felt like, and during the first hour especially, I felt like I was going to pass out the whole first hour. And I'm feeling better now. Thank you. Still don't know what it was. Have some doctor stuff going up. That's a whole nother drill. Finding doctors and I realize that this happens to many of you and me. It used to be you sick, you call your doctor, they say, okay, you're really sick, get in here. Now you call your doctor, and what I was told when I called my doctor was, okay, well, he can see you in February of 2026. But I'm sick now. Yeah, but we can't get you in to February of 2026. And you talk to people around the country and it's not just it's so many people around this country, same thing. You can't get in to see your doctor. And a lot of that, I believe, stems from what happened with Obamacare. There's a story about that in the news too. So, long story short, trying to traverse and getting through what is our healthcare system takes hours and hours and hours. Found another doctor, supposed to go see him soon. But here's the point I want to make about all that. It occurred to me today that I don't often talk about how much I love doing do what I do. Many of you know I do this 6 days a week. And it is a blessing to me because I love this. I've loved radio since I was 14 years old. First walked into a radio station when I was 14. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember what I was wearing. I remember what it was like. It was, it was thunderbolt stuff like, wow, this is what I want to do. And I have been blessed by God to be able to do what I want to do. In terms of having a profession, what didn't come as a direct course. I had to work many, many jobs before I landed up in radio, but I did end up in radio at a very young age, and I've been in it ever since, in addition to doing other things in media. But I really love doing this, and of course I had the opportunity to work with the GOAT for 30 years, the greatest radio personality in our country, Rush Limbaugh, who was just, that is an experience that is a treasure. But my real treasure is doing, now I so appreciate what I'm doing here. And the people at Red Apple Audio Networks are amazing and have allowed this to happen for me. And I'm eternally grateful for that. But I'm also eternally grateful for all of you that listen to this program, to listen and to allow me to do what I do here, because I love it. I love the interactions that I have with you, the limited interactions we have on the phone at 848-9222, 800-848-9222. I love that. But I hear from people in email. I hear from people that reach me through the email blast that we do, Daily BS and all that. It is amazing to be able to do this. And it also occurred to me there's going to come a day, don't know when, I hope it's many, many, many years in the future when it'll be over, because everything in life is over at some point. You know, everything, no matter how much you love it, no matter how much you're attached to it, everything has a finite life because we have our own finite lives. And to be able to do what you love to do in your life, to be able to actually do what you love to do with the people that you love to do it with. I have great crew, that the people that I work with here. They're just great people. They're wonderful people, and they're really professional at what they do, and they care about what they do, and they care about everything. To be able to, for me to have my friends that are also so accomplished, people that I love dearly, like Princess Diana and I, we go back now decades. I'm trying to age her, but I'm aging myself. And there's such a deep love there because she's so amazingly you hear her. And then we have Rhonda, who called into the Rush Show. That's how I met Rhonda. And what she brings to this program in terms of her slice of perspective, deeply rooted in faith, deeply rooted in her own life struggles and that of her family, is just amazing. And I love her. And then we have Lizzie is the daughter of a guy that I worked with here at WABC in New York when we were kids. And so it's just such a beautiful thing to have all of this going on and to have the opportunity to do it. And so I wanted to thank you all. And last week, I don't know what it sounded like. I have no idea what it sounded like. For my end, it was a bit of a struggle to try to get through it. And it was scary, you know, because I'd never experienced anything like that before. But man, I tell you what, and I actually did wonder, I'll tell you how scared I was about it, because I have never experienced anything. I wondered if I was just going to pass out and that was going to be that. I didn't. So I'm here. But to be able to do what you love from the time you're young right up until you start maturing is just such an enormous blessing. And I just wanted to say how deeply I appreciate you all for being here and listening, and how much I appreciate being able to do this. And thank you, John and Margot, and thank you, the whole crew at Red Apple. And thank you, everybody, for listening. That gives me the opportunity to come here and speak and try to engage in dialogue. And the point to me in the dialogue is this, and I'll just close with this. I get entangled like everybody else, entangled in the political, and I have a point of view. And the thing that I want most is to have the utopia in this country. What do I mean? We conservatives always talk about, that's the utopians. They think, well, you know what? I'm a utopian. I want this country. I look at what's happening in our cities and it makes me almost want to cry. I just rewatched The Wire and and then watched another thing in Baltimore. And it's just like, man, life doesn't have to be like this. I want people in our country to actually live up to the potential of this country, and then beyond this country, the world, humanity, to be better for people, so people have good, productive lives. And that's the point of all of it, to try to see whether we can advance our own humanity. So enough of the philosophy. We'll get to the news, but I just wanted to get that out. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. James Golden, Snerdley. It is the Saturday Morning Vibe.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
What's up, guys? I just applied to be an ICE agent, and my plan is that any information I get on ICE raids, I'm going to report back to the Mexican community and, just try to help you guys out. Also, every time a Mexican gets deported, I'm sneaking 2 Mexicans back into the United States. I'm just here to help. That's my plan. I will update you guys along the way. Thank you.
Oh, one of the things we got to do today, we have to talk about Ed Sullivan a little bit later, because Ed Sullivan's what is the thing with Ed Sullivan? Ed Sullivan was born, it's this weekend. He's one of the most amazing personalities that really helped chart where not the American scene went, not just with the British invasion of music, but so many others. And so before we get out of here, want to do that. But very quickly, let me talk about, I hate leaks. I hate when people leak. I hate, like the Supreme Court, the ruling on abortion that was leaked. I hate leaks so much. And now some stuff is leaked in New Jersey. Here's Mickey Sherrill, cut 17, Kelvin. Here's Mikey Sherrill, who's running for governor of New Jersey. She hates leaks too. This is what
I think what this shows too is that my opponent and the Trump administration will stop at nothing. They will completely weaponize the federal government to achieve what they want. We've seen it with Comey and what's going on there. And now we're seeing it here, releasing all of my records to try to have my opponent, who this is the third time he's run for this office. So, he's desperate and will stop at nothing, which is really chilling. But at the same time, I'm here today because I think this is so important that I stand up, because this could happen to any veteran. And
well, okay, enough of that. She never, here's the deal. So apparently she, and now the New York Post says her husband were involved in a cheating scandal at the U.S. Naval Academy. I mean, I hate leaks. And I'm so sad that now people know that something happened. It's just stunning. We'll be back. James Golden, do not go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We can get into this business with Comey, and we will. We will. But there's some other things that have happened in the news, some of them of minor import, but just I don't want to leave here without getting into them, and some of them of major import. Something happened in Seattle. And I gotta find it. Yes. There was a protest in Seattle. Earlier, it started on Monday. And let me see if I can find that cut. In Seattle, they were out protesting a Starbucks. See if you can track that one down, Kelvin. And protesters were outside of... You got it? Yeah, we have some audio from it. So there was a protest that was held Monday. And this is kind of what it sounded like on the streets of Seattle. And this is at their big, famous Reserve Roastery. This is a really huge, special kind of Starbucks where they show you the inside. I've been there. And they roasted. This is what it sounded like outside.
No contracts, no coffee, no workers, no Starbucks. No contracts, no coffee, no workers, no Starbucks.
No contracts, no workers,
no coffee, no workers, no Starbucks. No contract, no coffee, no workers. No Starbucks! Who's got the power? We got the power! Who's got the power? Union power! Who's got the power? We got the power! What kind of power? Union power! Who's got the power?
Okay, so you got it. Who's got the power? We got the power. Who's got the power? Union power. Who? No coffee, no contract, no coffee. We the workers, we got the power. We got the power. Well, here's the story that came. The protest was on Monday. You just heard what it sounded like on Monday. On Wednesday, there's another news story came out about all of this, and here's that story. Starbucks closes 2 Seattle stores amid restructuring layoffs. Starbucks abruptly closed its Reserve Roastery on Capitol Hill and Reserve store in Sodo Thursday as it announced a $1 billion restructuring plan that involves store closures in North America and hundreds of layoffs. The sudden shutterings came days after Capitol Hill store unionized workers rallied, demanding progress on contracts. Who got the power? We got the power. Who got the power? Union power. Hold on one second, folks. Yes. I'm just doing this. Folks, we might have a surprise at 8 o'clock. Anyway, we'll get to, so, it is with a heavy heart, a very heavy hearts. This is what Starbucks said. Play that thing one more time, just the protest outside, while I read what Starbucks said, because it fits. Go ahead.
No contract, no coffee, no workers, no Starbucks. No contract, no coffee, no workers.
So, Starbucks, 2 days later, it is with heavy hearts that we announced the closure of Seattle Reserve Roastery, a note read posted by the company outside the door. While this was a difficult decision to make, we remain dedicated to serving you and hope to see you again soon at one of our other Starbucks coffee houses. We're closed. It's done. Who got the power? Apparently, Starbucks has the power. That's just the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. Let's see. Okay. We have that. Speaking of protests, we had protests. I think I mentioned this to you. We had protests in Des Moines, Iowa. That's cut 20. Let's shoot from the protest out in Seattle to the protest in Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. And here you go.
As you can see, hundreds of people started gathering outside downtown right here at 4 p.m. today for Dr. Ian Roberts, the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, who was detained by ICE this morning. This protest has been going on for about an hour now, and while at times it's gotten very intense, it has remained peaceful. I can only show a select amount of signs, ones that don't have profanity on them, but many of them saying that they want Dr. Roberts freed and against ICE.
So, what's the story there? ICE arrests superintendent of Iowa's largest public school district. The superintendent of the largest public school district in the state was arrested yesterday by ICE, which alleged that he was in the country illegally and without a work authorization. Ian Andre Roberts, a Guyanan national and superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools, was arrested in an Operation ICE, announced in a news release. Roberts has helmed the district since July 2023, according to its website. It described him as a career educator with more than 2 decades of experience as a teacher, administrator, and executive leader. He previously served as the superintendent in 2 districts in Pennsylvania and Missouri. Roberts worked as a superintendent in Iowa despite not having legal status, despite having a final order of removal and no work authorization. He came to the United States of America in 1999 on a student visa, was given a final order of removal by an immigration judge in May 2024. He had an existing weapons charge from 2020, according to the press release. When ICE agents approached him in his vehicle after he identified himself, he drove off. The vehicle was later found near a wooded area, and Iowa State Patrol then assisted in the search for him. He was ultimately taken into custody. At the time of his arrest, excuse me. At the time of his arrest, he was found in possession of a loaded handgun. Was he in school, I wonder, prior to this? Is there even a possibility that there were guns in this? I'm not saying there was because I don't know, and this news report certainly doesn't say there is, but I'm just wondering if they apprehended him in his car, was he on the way from school? And if he was on the way from school and had a handgun, it's more questions than answers here, I fear. Possession, $3,000 in cash. Whoa. They must be paying nice over there in Iowa. Had 3 G's. He had 3 large in his pocket. Yeah, he had 3 large. He had a gun, and he had a fixed blade hunting knife. I wonder if he had a hunting license. Because, John Kerry, is this where I get me a hunting license? You young fella. Anyway, just trigger that. But he had a knife. And apparently, he brought the gun. He wasn't going to get caught. He wasn't going to get caught in a knife fight without a gun, apparently. So he had a knife, a gun, and 3 large when they caught him. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives will handle the investigation into how Roberts acquired a handgun. How did he get a gun? Why? I thought, how did he, an illegal gun? A superintendent of schools with an illegal gun? Why? Oh, my. The suspect was arrested in possession of a loaded weapon in a vehicle provided by Des Moines Public Schools after trying to flee federal law enforcement. Said Sam Olson, director of ICE enforcement and removal operations at St. Paul Field Office. How this illegal alien was hired to work without authorization, a final order of removal, a prior weapons charge is beyond comprehension and should alarm the parents of that school district. It is not immediately clear whether Roberts has retained an attorney. The Iowa Board of Educational Examiners had issued him a license to serve as a superintendent in July 2023. He was identified as a candidate for the job by an outside consulting firm, underwent a third-party comprehensive background check, the district said. A comprehensive background check. He had also completed the I-9 employment eligibility verification form and submitted. So somehow or another, he had documents that said he was legal, apparently. Or legal to work. How'd that happen? Along with the illegal gun and the hunting knife. And he had a previous firearm charge related to a hunting rifle, which he disclosed to the district board during the hiring process. He provided sufficient context and explanation to the situation to move forward in the hiring process. He's spoken publicly about it. The district said it did not have any knowledge. No, we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. Nobody told us a thing. We didn't know. Gee, that's a surprise. Wow, what you say? Did what? The district said he didn't have any knowledge of the 2024 removal order. ICE didn't notify the district. ICE didn't notify the district. ICE didn't notify the district. ICE didn't come in and say, hey, guys, you're about to hire an illegal alien with a weapons charge who's going to have 3 G's in his pocket and run around with a gun later on. They didn't come to Iowa and say, guys, you're about to hire an illegal immigrant. It's ICE's fault, you see, because we didn't know. Nobody told us a thing. We educators. We don't know nothing. But how are we supposed to know? Oh, boy. Boy, the stuff is hitting the fan now, but we didn't know nothing.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We have, my friends, this to just mention to you, tomorrow is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, our team, in need of your support right now. Every single dollar counts here. We all, the hosts, are trying to do our best to make sure that we raise enough, as much as we can, for this wonderful organization with you, our loyal audience. So you can go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk and help your favorite host, me, and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help us raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Let's never forget America's heroes, what they do for us, what they have done for us, and what in the future they will do for us. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk, please. On the telephones, I can't believe it. We have wondered what it's at. Adam is on the phone. Good morning, Adam. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Adam, I'm doing well. It has been so long since I've heard your voice.
I was telling the guy that answered the phone, I said, Mr. Snerdley wants to hear from me.
You know that's right.
Right. But I was going to talk about something else, sir.
You talk about whatever you want to talk about, Adam.
No, but I changed my mind because when I heard about your problems with the prostate cancer thing, I didn't even tell you that I was diagnosed with prostate cancer also.
Oh, my goodness.
I got Gleason 6. Gleason 6, they said it doesn't grow. What happened was I couldn't urinate, and then I went to the doctor, and they found that the bladder was being squeezed by the prostate, so they had to, do a few things. And to make a long story short, they had to cut the prostate. And then when they cut it, they sent the biopsy to the lab, and they said that I had the prostate cancer, Gleason 6. But I don't have to get no radiation or nothing. I just got to take blood tests every 6 months to see, if the PSA goes up. So
stay on it.
Now.
Stay on it.
I know. I'm 63 years old, so I'm not going to just forget about that,
I love it, man. Stay on it. I'm glad that you caught it.
Oh, yeah. That Charlie Kirk stuff really got me irritated, man. All that stuff when he was talking about Michelle Obama and this and that. And, Can somebody talk about his college credentials so we can see if he was more intelligent than Michelle Obama?
Charlie didn't go to college, man. Charlie didn't.
I figured he didn't. That was just opinionated. Okay.
Let me say something to you about Charlie Kirk. Now, you can disagree with him on things. By the way, Charlie said some things that I didn't agree with. But I say things that you don't agree with. We all say things that each other don't agree with because that's the way of the world. We're human beings. Let me just say this about Charlie. I met Charlie when he was very young and just starting out TPUSA. Can you imagine doing what he did, 31 years old, and the organization that he built? And what did he do? Whether you disagree or not, what he said and what his mission was, that people should be talking together about these things, that we should have dialogue. Now, Adam, you know in this country there's so much division and hatred and so many things right now where people aren't talking. They're out in the streets. They're protesting. They're doing all that. Wouldn't you rather live in a world where people can talk with each other about whatever it is, their political difference or whatever, or not?
Yeah, I agree with that, sir. It's just that, he had a platform and it seemed like he was hypnotizing people to believe everything that he said was right.
But he wasn't hypnotizing. You see, he was debating with people and people came to their own conclusions. And isn't that what we want?
Yeah.
Well, so I think he did an amazing thing. I think the reason that this has upset so many people is that he was also strong about his faith. Now, regardless of what we think about all the social ills, man, nobody deserved to go the way Charlie went for doing what he did. Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
Adam, we love you. I got people texting me already, say they're praying for you and that they love you. We miss you. So you call us back, Adam, okay?
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Snerdley here, our uno in the can, our duo. We may have a very special treat right out of the box. We will. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Ciattarelli is going to join us. Stay on the line. Do not go away. Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. No, I'm sorry. Did I say that? I'm sorry. It's a Saturday morning vibe. Thank you. Well, you do this all the time. It's still Bo Snerdley. The fastest hours in American media. Here we are.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Welcome, my friends. Our number duo here, Saturday Morning Vibe, with me, Bo Snerdley, James Golden. 800-848-9222 is how you reach us. Surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the candidate, Jack Ciattarelli, who is running to become the next governor of the Garden State of New Jersey. Good morning. May I call you Jack? Good morning.
Absolutely, you may call me Jack, and thank you for having me on.
I saw the debates. Incredible. I want to talk about what it is that you said, some of the things you said at the debate. Before we do that, controversy is brewing. We played a sound bite earlier in the program from your opponent, Mickey Sherrill, who is claiming that your campaign, Donald Trump, are behind leaks. I hate leaks. I hate leaks so much. But this matter is now before the people of not just New Jersey, but the United States. And then we see the New York Post had a story today about her husband being involved in this issue that happened at the Naval Academy. And also that another story came out that your campaign now threatening legal action because of these claims that somehow or another your campaign, Donald Trump, involved in a leak. What's the story here?
Well, this is the ultimate spin job. There's nothing my opponent won't blame on the president. If you get a flat tire on the way home today, it's his fault. Here's the deal. She was not allowed to participate in the graduation ceremony. at the Naval Academy in 1994. Her name was excluded from the commencement exercise program. And what she's now saying is, as part of the cheating scandal that took place at the Naval Academy in 1994, that the reason why she was punished by the Naval Academy is because she wouldn't turn over classmates who she knew were cheating, which, by the way, violates the honor concept at the Naval Academy. I don't believe that to be true, what she's saying, and she can clear the whole thing up by just approving the release of her disciplinary records, but she's not doing that.
Instead, what she's doing is making it about the leak, not about, and I haven't heard her say one word about the actual scandal itself. And from what I understand, whatever information, and there seems to be something about this, there was a FOIA request for information. There was a report that some agency, one of the government agencies, had released, mistakenly released information. Was your campaign involved in any of this?
Listen, there was a release of information through a FOIA request. That is a lawful request for open public records. And the agency has apologized that when they fulfilled the very legal request, that they didn't redact some information. But there was no leak.
Aha! So, this was government at work. Okay. We spent time on that. I want to move on to who you are. You said some things in that debate that really connected, I think, with a lot of people, and I want to just ask you about it. The first thing you said that struck me as very different from a message that I've heard from most other politicians, and I've been watching politics since I was a kid. You said you have no other ambitions. This is not a stepstone for you if you become governor, a stepstone into a national office. Why are you running? What is it that you want to do for New Jersey? And is that true? Is this it? You just want to be governor and then that's it?
When something I love is broken, I want to fix it. I love this state. It's been very good to Chettarellis who've been here for 100 years. 3 generations of us have all achieved our American dream, but I'll be 64 in a couple months, and I never remember it being this bad across the board. Taxes, spending, overdevelopment, shortage of affordable housing for young people and our seniors and our veterans and our disabled people. Nonviolent crime has spiked because we've handcuffed our police. Our public schools are failing. We slipped from 2 to 12 on the national report card. We need to fix this. And I believe that I can with the very specific proposals, and many of which I discussed at the debate. My opponent, in my opinion, is not qualified. You didn't hear one specific proposal from her, and many times she wouldn't even answer the question at the debate. So, but listen to your specificity of your question. This is my final destination. I don't want to go to Congress. I don't want to go to the Senate. I don't want to be vice president. I don't want to be president. I just want to fix the state of New Jersey. When it's all over, I'm going to the beach in Surf City.
I love that. Okay, let's talk specifically about some of these issues that you raised for a moment. New Jersey is one, like many of the Northeast corridor states that are blue or have turned blue, that are afflicted with incredibly high taxes. What are you going to do about it?
First of all, control spending. It took us 238 years as a state to get to a $36 billion budget. In 8 years under Phil Murphy, we've gone from $36 billion to $59 billion. Think about that for a second. That's 70% increase, and yet nobody's life is better in New Jersey. There's been more than $2 billion in pet work projects in the last 24 months. I don't think state government should be in the business of building French art museums or putting turf fields in the districts of Democratic legislators across the state. We got to get back to fiscal responsibility. I'll very responsibly and surgically reduce the size and cost of our state government to afford a tax cut for businesses and individuals. And with a new school funding formula, which I think is more equitable than the current one, we can lower property taxes.
And, okay, that, by the way, schools, let's talk about that for a moment. Every single, and this goes beyond blue cities, but if you look at, as I have been focusing, you have cities like Baltimore, where you have on certain grade levels, not one student passes. You have in New Jersey several cities that are run with total Democrat infrastructure. These cities are a mess. including the education. We have generations of kids, young people, that are going to be totally uneducated out of these school systems and totally unprepared to access the American dream. I don't know. This is nothing. I don't think this can be fixed overnight, but it's not even being addressed. What is your message to the people of New Jersey about how you intend to govern with cities in mind and with the education of all New Jersey students in mind?
The most compelling example of what you're talking about is Newark School District. 83% of the kids are not on grade level for reading, writing, and math. And so what I can do on day one is what Louisiana did, which moved them from 48 to 32 on the National Report Card. What was done in Mississippi, which is referred to as the Mississippi Miracle. We're going forward with a high-impact curriculum on day one. What does that mean exactly? If your child is not on grade level for things like reading, writing, and math, we are going to expend the entire next market period and the one thereafter and the one thereafter until they are. I'm a data guy. As a CPA, MBA, I'm a data guy. The data is clear. If your child is not on grade level for things like literacy by the end of 8th grade, they will more than likely be underemployed their entire life. We need a high-impact curriculum. What we also need is school choice. That doesn't happen overnight. It's more of a midterm goal. And I visited recently a charter school in Newark where every single kid in every single grade was on grade level. A stark difference from the public school system there. So these are the things the next governor has to do. The current governor has done nothing on this subject, and my opponent won't do either, because what I'm proposing is opposed by the teachers' union leadership, and my opponent is owned by the teachers' union leadership.
Let's talk, and that, by the way, I would be anxious to see if that happens, and I love the fact that you've done the exploration into actually what works. Another question. Let's talk about.
Point here?
Sure, yes, you may.
Let me make this point. Who has school choice? People that have the means.
Right.
Who doesn't have school choice? People that live in poverty. And yet the Democrats will always portray themselves as the party that better represents the disadvantaged and the marginalized and the minority communities. And yet, what is it they don't give Newark families? What is it they don't give Newark parents? What is it they don't give Newark students? They don't give them choice. Think about that for a second.
I have been thinking about that for decades. And let me tell you something. If we do not come to grips with the horror story that is happening with American public schools, this country will never live up to its potential.
We're graduating today illiterate children. I've got county clerks that tell me when 18-year-olds are coming in to register to vote, they're printing their name.
Wow. Let's talk about crime. And let's talk about crime not just in the cities, but across the state of New Jersey. What are your plans?
Cashless bail has been a failure. It was well-intentioned, but it's been a failure. It has created a professional criminal who's learned how to game the system. Talk to your local cops. Arrest, release, repeat is real. And it's demoralizing for local law enforcement to have to arrest the same person 2 or 3 times. Nonviolent crime has spiked in New Jersey because of this. Break-ins, car thefts, flash mobs on our Jersey Shore, flash mobs in our malls. Take a look at what happened in Secaucus 4 weeks ago. A total lack of respect for law and order. A total lack of respect for law enforcement. We've got to get back to being a law and order state. We need to reform bail reform. And my attorney general will work with me to keep our community safe, as will the 21 county prosecutors that I support. But let me say one other thing. We need to not have sanctuary cities, nor should we be a sanctuary state. My opponent failed to answer that question last week. That only encourages illegal immigration, but more importantly, it restricts local police from doing certain things. And if a mayor wants their local PD to work in partnership with a federal agency to keep their community safe, I think they should be allowed to do so.
Who are you? Where's your background? Where did you talked about this country has been good to your family. I heard you talk about this, but for those that haven't heard your background, your story, who are you?
I'm a regular Jersey guy. My grandparents immigrated to Raritan Borough over 100 years ago because somebody from their village in Italy had preceded them there. For reasons I don't know, but I'm glad they made Raritan Borough home. I've always lived in Somerset County. I'm a father of 4 children. I'm an MBA CPA out of Seton Hall University. I'm a 2-time successful business owner. I'm somebody who's had the privilege of serving at every level of government, term limiting myself each time, and at the municipal and county level, not taking the pay or the benefits. My opponent likes to paint me as a career politician. She never tells people that I've always term limited myself. She doesn't tell people I didn't take the salary benefits. Quite frankly, the amount of time I've spent serving my community in the positions I've held, it cost me money, which is very unlike my opponent, who's tripled her net worth since she took Congress and couldn't answer the question as to how she did that, and also had to pay federal fines for violating federal law on stock trades and stock reporting for a congressperson. But I'm a regular Jersey guy, and it pains me that an overwhelming number of New Jerseyans think the state is heading in the wrong direction. 2 out of 3 are looking to leave. And today, people are insecure, if not fearful, of getting the education of their dreams, job of their dreams, raising a middle-class family here, starting a business here, retiring here. I don't want people living in fear. I think leadership matters. And when something I love is broken, I'm just determined to fix it. And we can fix this.
What is it that you want? What is the New Jersey that you want? I lived in Bergen County, New Jersey for many years. New Jersey got its name, the Garden State. If you get off the Turnpike corridor and you got a chance to, if you've ever been to New Jersey, folks, this show goes many parts of the country. You might think of New Jersey, if you've only seen the Turnpike, as wow, one thing. New Jersey is such a beautiful state. What is it that you want for New Jersey?
Aesthetically, it is a beautiful state, but we need to make it a livable state again. And we've got this affordability crisis. So the very simple answer to your question is, what do I want? I want people to feel confident they can achieve their American dream in New Jersey once again. Young people, we lead the nation. When our K through 12 kids go out of state to college, we lead the nation in the fewest that come back. Why is that? Because people are seeing greener pastures elsewhere. When 2 out of 3 people say they're looking to leave as soon as possible, it's because they see greener pastures elsewhere. We need to change all that. We shouldn't be chasing seniors out of their home because they can't afford their property taxes. We need to make sure that New Jersey is a place where young people want to get started and raise a family and start a business. Right now, we are dying a very slow death by 1,000 cuts. And everywhere you look, after 8 years of Democratic control of the executive branch, after 25 years of Democratic control of our state legislature, everywhere you look, there is policy failure after policy failure after policy failure.
Wow. You have said a mouthful. I'm going to invite you back. I'm also going to invite your opponent on equal time. And so call out to Mikey Sherrill's campaign. You want to come on? Come on. But, Jack, this has just been...
fair thing to do.
Yeah. And I'm going to invite you back again, okay? And let's just talk further. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us this morning.
Sir, thank you for the opportunity to be with you and your listening audience. Looking forward to next time.
James Golden and Snerdley here with you, Saturday Morning Vibe.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
800-848-9222 is how you reach us, ladies and gentlemen. 800-848-9222. We didn't even talk yet about that other incident that happened. Did you hear about this in Florida? Kelvin, did you happen to hear about anything about well, we'll talk about it. The state not pursuing a guy that was in front of kids. For real. Yeah, they didn't want to, it's not against the law, according to the liberal state attorney, to pleasure yourself in front of children. Folks, Lizzie is going to be with us when we get back. Looking forward to that. Saturday Morning Vibe continues. Your phone calls too, 800-848-9222. Keep it right here. And whatever you do, do not go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
With us now, ladies and gentlemen, she is Red Apple Media star anchorette, our very own Lizzie Radabali. Good morning, Lizzie.
Good morning, Bo. Good morning. How are you doing this fine Saturday?
Oh, I'm doing better than I was doing last Saturday, I'll tell you that. Last Saturday was a tough one.
A doozy.
Yes, but at least I didn't get attacked by squirrels.
Oh, yeah, well, lucky you then. Two people out in San Francisco cannot say the same, actually, believe it or not.
Lizzie, I saw this story early in the week. I'm so glad you saw it too. Lizzie, I mean...
I love to go on the off-beaten path of the news world for our segment here. And, this story out of the San Fran Bay Area is just hilarious. And it's just checks all the boxes of like the perfect offbeat story because, nobody died. I do want to preface this story. Nobody's dead. People are injured. People did get attacked by a squirrel, but they lived to tell the tale, luckily. It's a scary situation when you're face to face with a little gray squirrel. You don't know if you're going to make it out alive. Sometimes you don't live to tell the tale. Sometimes. But these people luckily do in San Francisco. 2 people were actually attacked. And it's, now authorities are like, we need to get a handle on this. They actually were sent to the emergency room. The attacks were that serious. One of the witnesses said they clamped onto the leg of their leg and was like climbing up them, biting down. They were trying to shake it off of them. And, they did go to the emergency room, like I mentioned. Luckily, though, I do want to say, I didn't know this. Squirrels do not carry rabies. They are not carriers of rabies. So they don't have to get any of the rabies treatments because I don't know if you know anybody or are familiar with the treatment for rabies. I actually know someone.
It's a very brutal treatment. Isn't it like 14 weeks? Is it 14 different shots? Oh, it's some odd number, some crazy number.
It's a crazy number. One of my friends
of shots.
Actually, her bathroom window was slightly open and a bat flew in her apartment. And she didn't touch the bat, but she was in close quarters with the bat. I mean, it was in the bathroom, so it's how big is the bathroom? And because she was in the bathroom the same time as this bat, she needed rabies treatment, and it was just like intense. She was seeing doctors in and out of the doctors for literally months, for 2.5 months. And
very painful, it said. It'd be very, very painful.
Yeah.
Those shots are not fun. But this thing with the squirrels, I had a neighbor. I was living I just mentioned this, when I was living in Bergen County, New Jersey, in Englewood. I had a neighbor, right? And he did something, and I forget what it was, but he did something to tick off the squirrel. A squirrel. He did. We had,
They got a short fuse,
Lizzie,
I know that much.
The squirrel had memories. I'm not kidding. I thought it was the funniest thing in a way. When he would walk out of the house, the squirrel would throw stuff at him from in the tree. I'm not kidding you. This really happened. And at first he was like, this can't be happening. It was happening. He would come out of the house, the squirrel would start throwing acorns and stuff at him.
I believe you because, can I tell you, I went to school over in Boston for a bit, up in Boston, Massachusetts, and there's a big park there called the Boston Commons. Anybody familiar?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very famous.
Very famous. And the squirrels there they're just on one. I thought that I was, I'm a tough New Yorker. I thought that I could handle anything, any little rodent come my way. But no, these Boston squirrels were a different breed. One time I was sitting with my friends and I was eating some goldfish and I see a few squirrels. They look a little cute. So, you toss them a goldfish. Next thing I knew, I turn around, there was a pack of literally 50 squirrels right behind me, like surrounding me. And me and my friends were like, oh my God, we got to get out of here. We have to leave. And I never went back to that park again because I swear they just like you said, they recognized me. They would start rolling up on me.
They recognize you, yes.
Like start crowding around me. And yeah, animals, they do have a memory. Crows also have a very good memory, and they have a thirst for vengeance, so don't piss off any crows.
Oh, okay. Now, internet, China, what's going on? By the way, this TikTok thing looks like Donald Trump posted earlier in the week that President Xi has signed on to a deal that would allow TikTok to become an American company. I know you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I knew that TikTok was not going to go anywhere. I knew that TikTok was here to stay, and it was going to stick around. They kept postponing the deadline for the TikTok ban, so that was kind of the writing on the wall for me that it was not going anywhere. But, now TikTok is in somewhat American hands. There is still a board seat that is reserved for China on this new leadership panel in the United States. And of course, overall, TikTok is still owned by Chinese-owned ByteDance, but here in the United States, the operations are going to be run by American companies, of course. So that's the changes.
Okay, so wait, so the deal is then that China will still technically own it, but in America, the American TikTok operation will be run by Americans. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, yeah, that's the stipulation there. Like TikTok is not being sold to the United States. Like that's I think a common misconception with this deal. But yeah, China, they're very protective over their internet. I mean, Tiananmen Square, we know that. But so they've now launched a campaign to keep any negative Nancys, any Debbie Downers off their internet, because they say that there's a lot of negative emotions, pessimistic attitudes that are circulating, and that's not good. That does not align well with the values of the Chinese Communist Party, of course. They want cohesion. They want social cohesion, and they think that pessimism and, these downtrodden ideas, they stoke division, which, there's some truth to that matter, I guess. But the liberty of, freedom of speech, the freedom of speechers are going to say, that's your right to say if you feel negative, you feel negative. This is just, a lot of people are pointing that this may just be censorship by the Chinese party because a lot of people are now negative because of their negative circumstances. A lot of people in China are, there's a huge youth unemployment crisis going on in China right now. So of course the young people are going online being like, man, I hate my life. Everything stinks. So now China is trying to clamp down on that by saying the youth, they need to be more positive, just getting rid of negative, tone online altogether. So, I don't know if this is going to work for them. Like I said, we all have the memory of Tiananmen Square. I don't know if the Chinese youth do because of China's control over the internet. But yeah, TBD if China is able to change their attitudes by cracking down on the online Debbie Downers.
Wow. All right, this other story, this last one that we have here, Lizzie, the spray. Lizzie.
Yes. This story.
Lizzie.
I was debating sending you this story, but the headline was just too good.
Lizzie, you just run with this. You just tell people about this.
Okay,
you run with this.
Any pranksters out there or people who have been on the receiving end of a prank know that there's a special spray out there in the prankiverse that can make you think you're smelling like someone just went number 2. Now this
the prankiverse.
In the prankiverse. And so someone took one of those sprays to a school, at a South Carolina school, and was I guess, going crazy, spraying up, making this place smell. It was West Florence High School. It was a high school, and he just really stunk up the place. And it ended up being a $55,000 repair bill for the school's AC. Now, this guy, he's a 32-year-old teaching assistant, Alexander Paul Robertson Lewis. 4 names, very regal for a guy who did this. He's now being charged. He's now being criminally charged. And now I just want to say, this guy, man, is this not like immaturity in a news story? This guy's 32 years old. He is a teaching assistant. I hate to break it to you, buddy. I don't think you're ever going to make it to a full-on teacher if you keep acting like this. If you keep taking sprays to school that smell like fecal matter and spray it up.
Oh,
I don't think you're going to go far in your career, guy. I just don't think. Sorry to Alexander Paul Robertson Lewis, Mr. 4 names, but it is. He was arrested and he was being held at the detention center. Local detention center. No, not really clear if he's got a lawyer, what kind of time he could be facing, what kind of fine, that's all
obviously unclear. He's been is he still employed at the school, or did they just say enough is enough?
I would figure that they fired him. There no official statement from the school I haven't been able to find, but I would say this guy's probably on the outs.
His career just took a flush. Flushed his career down the drain. His career is
down in the dumps, I guess you could say.
Yes, yes, Lizzie. Oh, Lizzie, you do find them.
I really just try to find the ones that I know will bring a smile to your face.
And you have a big smile on your face, Lizzie. Thank you so much, Lizzie. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you, Lizzie Radabali.
Thank you so much, Bo. Look forward to it.
James Golden, Snerdley, Saturday Morning Vibe, 800-848-9222.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, Snerdley with you. Let's do this. Oh, yes. This, before we go further, tomorrow, Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk and Run. Our team is in need of your support right now. Every dollar counts, my friends. All of us, the hosts here at Red Apple Audio Networks, we are trying to rally our audiences to participate. So please go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk and help your favorite host. Me. Support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help us raise money for the great folks over at Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Walk, run. Never forget America's heroes, what they do for us. Please go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help us support Tunnel to Towers. Now,
James Golden, a.k.a. Bo Snerdley, presents Rapid Phones.
We have time for some phone calls. Just going to ask that everybody please get right to your point so we can get as many people in as possible. And I thank you for waiting, especially those of you that have been holding for so long. Let's start in New Jersey with Chris. Welcome. Good morning. How are you?
Okay, Bo, you missed the one question that you should have asked, and maybe please ask it next time.
Okay, what is it?
Running for governor, okay? He has to, whoever wins, whoever wants to be governor, they have to turn back that stupid mandate of banning plastic and paper bags in the state.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. I missed the big question. Never mind that I asked the questions about what are you going to do with taxes. Never mind. I asked, what are you going to do about crime? What are you going to do about the failing schools? What's your vision for the state? But I missed the big burning question, the bags and the straws. Do I have that right?
Yes, they're poking everybody in the ribs with this nonsense. No bags in the stores, none.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay. I can see how I missed a big one on that. Yeah, who do we go to next, Kelvin?
We have Carol on.
Let's go to Carol. Hi, Carol. Where are you calling from, Carol? Hello, Carol. Welcome. How are you? I'm not hearing anything back, Carolyn. She's not there. Okay, let's go to Astoria and check in with E. Frank. E. Frank, how are you?
How are you, James? Let me tell you, I'm very sick, and I'm getting sicker of hearing these stories about James Comey being an innocent bystander and being innocent of whatever he's done. Because, my deceased uncle knew President Donald J. Trump, and, I'm very close with Donald Trump through my family, but my other family, but I feel very sad when Donald Trump says that this Comey guy, I wouldn't even give him an ounce of time because he actually believes that he's innocent of things that he's done. Donald Trump has accused him of being a corrupt Democrat. There are even Democrats that are ashamed of what Comey did, and it's sickening to me.
Look. This matter is going to court. Whether you think about it, whether Politico has a long piece today about how it's not a sound case, it's going to be humiliation. No, it's going to court. It'll be decided. And one way or another, at least this was brought. There's also a theory, by the way, that I heard expressed, we may have the soundbite, that this may be just a holding move, that there may be more coming. But E. Frank, I wouldn't. Many of us know what Comey did, and liberals won't acknowledge what Comey did. The matter is in the courts. We'll see what happens from there. E. Frank, thank you. Let's go to Ralph in New Rochelle, New York. You're coming up next. Ralph, you're here. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Golden? I just wanted to mention the story you spoke to earlier about the superintendent of schools in Iowa, and it reminded me of the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio,
yes,
where Frank Avenatti, who's from New Rochelle, my hometown, impersonated all these different people, airline pilot, lawyer, doctor. And I believe if you act like you belong and you use the right jargon, you could pull the wool over everybody's eyes if you think you belong. And it was Donald Trump's immigration policies to start looking into who was in this country that caught this guy.
Boom. Well, had already been caught, but, because he was supposed to be home. ICE knew about him. It's amazing that Iowa didn't. But they said ICE didn't tell them. So, I mean, what do we know? We didn't know. Hour number duo in the can. Hour number trio coming up. In our number trio, we will hear from Her Majesty. Princess Diana will be with us in hour number 3, as will America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock, and more of your phone calls at 800-848-9222. What a week this has been. And we're going to catch up with as much of it as we can. We also got some great audio if we can get to it. So, whatever you do, keep it right here. Have that second cup of coffee now, or third. And don't go away. Our number duo in the can, our number trio coming up. The Saturday Morning Vibe continues. Please be here for it.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Our number trio has arrived. Welcome, my friends. This Saturday Morning Vibe underway. Our number uno, our number duo in the can. Here we are, and it is time.
It's time for Radio Royalty with James Golden and America's Princess of Policy.
Check out the nest. Yes, Her Highness, Her Loveliness, everythingness in the house. It's Princess Di. How are you this morning?
Oh, I am so happy you're feeling better, James. I appreciated what you said in the opening of your show, and I just wanted to speak for your many, many listeners and wishing you all the best and to thank you for all the effort you always put in. I, as you say, have known you for decades, and I know how hard you work and how dedicated you are, and you do not ever, you are very stoic, you do not take time off, which you maybe should have if you're not feeling well. But I appreciate your dedication and your wonderful work as you do every day. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, I love this. I love it. So even when you're sick and you're doing something you love it. You just don't want to not do it,
I understand, but I know how hard you work, and you never take time off, and keeping up with the news as you do and explaining it so well during the week, it is just a talent and very much appreciated.
Well, I don't know about all of that because I don't understand some of this stuff. Like, I look at these details. Let's talk for just a quick second about this whole Comey thing. Look, I'm not a lawyer. And so when I start reading some of this legal stuff that's going on, and this one said this, that one said that, this, that, do, we all know what Comey did. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm happy, number one, he's going to be in a courtroom. Now, you watch some of this stuff. I mentioned the Politico piece today. Politico just on and on and on about how this is a horribly weak case. You mentioned the fact that the attorney here that's doing it is a kind of a newbie, and they made a big deal out of that and trying to knock her down. But talk to us for a second about your thought. I know you have your own timeline of what happened this week. I can't wait to hear it. But talk to me for a minute about this Comey thing. What's your take on it?
Well, I think it's fantastic that the entire left has decided their talking points are that this is a terribly thin, weak case. It's never going anywhere. And however, when you really look at it, I think you alluded to Catherine Heritage's point of view, and she basically said that she's been following, this 2 decades covering the FBI and the Justice. She says that it suggests this is a holding charge with the potential of more complex superseding indictments. And I think that is absolutely true. The thing that he was indicted on, basically, lying to Congress about leaks, is, really a window in to an enormous body of evidence that he was the chief leaker about the Russia hoax for years. And he used a very sophisticated, complicated, complex method of getting things to the mainstream press. And so this one charge, basically discovery and the trial, which he says he wants now, is going to uncover. This is not a one-time thing. This is thousands of instances. And so I think Catherine Herridge is exactly correct. She is an excellent reporter, and I think this is going to basically pull the thread for the entire evidence to come crashing down. And he's going to Instagram and making videos and claiming he's, the hero. I am not afraid. I am innocent, and all of this stuff. This guy has what I call main character syndrome. He's somebody that he is the, hero in his, in history, and he's standing up to Trump, who's a tyrant, and all this stuff. If he were really not afraid, he would be quiet, and I'm sure his lawyer is telling him to be quiet because, going on Instagram is not going to help him. And he has got enormous legal exposure. He is going to be arraigned October 9th. There's no, SWAT team coming to, his people did for conservatives. He's going to walk in on his own power and, surrender himself and become, arraigned at that time, October 9th. So he is going to go to trial. He clearly is not going to make a deal. And this, as I say, is very dangerous and damaging to the swamp. And interestingly enough, if you see John Brennan's appearances now,
yes,
he is all of a sudden all quiet and timid and gentle. He wants Trump to move on. He used to be just the most arrogant. He is, to me, the evil behind the evil. And so he has a completely different tone now when he is on MSNBC and CNN. And so that, to me, is going to be very interesting to see. And because Trump has basically said there's going to be more. And I am just assuming that John Brennan is going to be another one. So we much more to come. And I am very optimistic that this is finally going to put these people in the dock, where they belong on trial.
Okay, so let's review the week. Well, let's you review the week. Tell us what happened this week.
I have to tell you, so much happened, and it's been that way, as you have said on your daily show. There's so much going on every day. It's hard. It's impossible to keep track. And this past week was particularly intense. Ever since the Charlie Memorial last Sunday on the 21st, I just wrote some of these things down. And I'm not even covering everything. But big events happened the day after the Charlie Kirk Memorial on Sunday, which was very moving to many people. Trump had his Antifa EO the next day. On the 22nd, he signed an executive order where he is going to have an all-of-government approach to investigate, disrupt, dismantle, organized political violence in America. And that is tied directly to the assassin, Tyler Robinson, who has, lurked on a lot of these websites and was corrupted by a lot of this dark, awful rhetoric online and money that supports it. So there was the memorial on Sunday. The dismantling of Antifa was given by Trump the next day. And on Tuesday, a lot happened. Jimmy Kimmel, who was basically described as a martyr for free speech by the left, regardless of the fact that he had a few days suspension, he returned on Tuesday. And at the same time, James, this got no attention, was Google admitted that Biden had censored all of their platforms, including removing people from YouTube. And thanks to Jim Jordan and the House Judiciary Committee, who has been on this for years, he got Google to admit that Biden had forced them to censor people who were telling the truth, and also that they were going to reinstate people whose accounts were removed. Now, this is true free speech problem. Jimmy Kimmel is not. 4-day suspension for things he actually said, and the advertiser revolt and the affiliate revolt does not make him a martyr for free speech. Charlie was the martyr. But that's what they tried to frame it as. And the coverage was on Jimmy Kimmel wall to wall, and hardly anyone noticed or reported the huge story of Google, because that had gone on 4 years on conservatives being shut out of the public square. The other thing that happened on Tuesday the 23rd was Politico reported that Bolton's raid of his office had resulted in classified documents on USBs. And that just went real quick under the radar. Politico did report it briefly. Nobody followed up on it. The next day, on Wednesday, the 24th, there was another shooting by a leftist, Dallas ICE shooting, which ended up, sadly, killing several people who were in custody there. And, the media reported this as nobody knows the motive. Nobody has any idea why this happened. And so they quickly buried the story because, yes, he wrote anti-ICE on the bullet casings. The other thing that happened that day was a memo from my favorite cabinet member, Russ Vought, who's head of the Office of Management and Budget. He wrote a memo saying that if there is a shutdown, He was instructing all federal agencies to prepare for reduction in force plans for mass firings during the government shutdown, specifically targeting employees who work for programs that are not legally required to continue. In other words, the non-essential. This has changed the entire dynamic of the usual shutdown debate. They go to their, the Democrats claim that it's the Republicans' fault. The Republicans get afraid. And they basically, if the government does shut down, they furlough some people, they get back pay eventually, and it has no impact on anything, and the Republicans end up being, quote-unquote, blamed. Now, Trump, thanks to my favorite cabinet member, Russ Vought, came up with this new plan that they're actually going to not just furlough the people who are non-essential, they're going to fire them all. And all of a sudden, the Democrat constituency who staff the fourth branch, quote unquote, of government, which is the administrative state, they frightened. They are going to get the pink slip. And they also know that Trump is not just blowing smoke. He means it. This is a wonderful opportunity to actually reduce government. And Chuck Schumer, who thought he held all the cards in this demand that he wants, illegal aliens to get health care and all the other things in order to negotiate with Trump. He thought he had some cards. He has no cards. All of a sudden, this is going to flip the script 100%, and I am hoping that Schumer sticks to his plan of basically not, giving in, quote unquote, because Trump does need 60 in the Senate to have this budget go forward. And I don't think the Democrats are going to allow themselves to give in, and which means great things happen for America, huge firings, and the government will be smaller, which is what, of course, Republican conservatives have wanted for decades. So that is a huge thing that happened on Wednesday. On Thursday, Comey was indicted, as we discussed, and also John Solomon also reported that there were 275 FBI agents at January 6th. And as Stephen A. Smith called it, that it was a setup. So, an inside job, in his words. So, to have FBI agents, not to mention other ATF possibly, that there were people who were possibly inciting what happened on January 6th. That was a huge piece of information that they had hidden for years. On Friday, this is yesterday, the Supreme Court 6-3 agreed with Russ Vought again that pocket rescissions, that Trump is allowed to not spend money that Congress has basically designated for foreign policy purposes, for foreign aid. So for 6-3, the Supreme Court of the United States agreed that this is something that the president has the power to do, and that's to claw back and not spend money. This has been an earthquake in Washington, D.C., because this was the way it was until 1974, when there was legislation that changed the rules. For 200 years, this is what presidents could do. And so Trump is basically bringing back that power. And the other thing that happened, and this is probably the last thing I'll have time for, is the U.S. is preparing for military strikes on drone targets inside Venezuela. President Trump has dispatched a fleet of American warships into the waters off Venezuela, quote unquote, according to ABC, an unusual naval buildup. This is something that Trump mentioned in his speech at the UN to every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America. Please be warned that we will blow you out of existence. And all of a sudden, Nicolas Maduro, who is the illegitimate president there, is trying to get messages to Trump saying, I'll help you hunt the gangs. Let's
Oh, this.
I just wanted to tell you, this has been a week of just huge events, and, it's not too much winning. It's nothing but winning, and so look forward to more good news next week.
That is an amazing recap of the week, Princess Diana. Thank you so much, Your Highness. We so appreciate you.
Anytime, Sir James.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
All right, James Golden here, Snerdley. I wanted to get this in. We don't have a lot of time. Just play cut 8, and I'll tell you what it's about.
All things that are wrong are not illegal. And I'm not standing before you today telling you that what happened in that park was wrong. But I am standing before you today telling you that I trust the word of the attorney who was assigned to this case when he said, although those actions were wrong, he could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they were illegal.
What are we talking about here? That's a Soros prosecutor, by the way, Monique Worrell, in Florida. Charges were dropped against a man caught masturbating while facing a bunch of children playing in a public splash pad. Charges were dropped against a man caught masturbating while facing a bunch of children in a public park. Charges were dropped. Democrats. Hour number 3 continues. Hour number trio. We'll be back. We have more. Whatever you do, keep it right here and do not go away.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to phones right now. Try to grab in a few quick calls. Alex in Long Island City, you have been waiting for so long. Thank you for holding. What's on your mind this morning?
First of all, your beloved James, and we all wish for your best health.
Thank you. That's very kind.
And, thank you. And, the day of the General Assembly, there was a news item that came across. The Secret Service had busted a network of servers surrounding New York City. They had also about 100,000 SIM cards, and apparently this could have been used to take down the telecommunication network around the city in that radius of about 35 miles. And that story seems to have pretty much disappeared.
And that story I covered on the weekday show. And yes, and there's more to that story. That also is connected to a ring that was doing SWAT calls. Swatting. Calling the police, anonymously reporting stuff to conservatives. And you're right. The story has disappeared. There's more to that story, believed to be, by the way, the work of perhaps China or operatives in China. Thank you for waiting, Alex, to get that story out there, because that is a huge story. Over 300 servers, 100,000 SIM cards, and a cell network that was found within radius of where the General Assembly was meeting. And Secret Service disrupted it, and they said there are probably more. Huge story. Alex, thank you for waiting to remind us of that and bring it out. We so appreciate it. Bob in Trumbull, Connecticut, you are up next. How are you?
Mr. Snerdley, living the nightmare. But anyway, Lizzie Bazzarani is absolutely right. Watch out for crows. My daughter was exercising her horse and got up and on the mounting block left her cell phone, and a crow came down and took it. Because she was listening to the rush hour, and this crow came down and took her phone and flew off with it. It was strange. But anyway.
Very strange.
Yeah. Well, maybe was taking it to the flip-flops so they could listen to the show. I don't know.
Well, at least the crows have good taste. So, look, I got to leave it there. I want to play one or two more things for you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the call, Bob. I wanted to get this in. Normally you hear on the TikTok on the people, and I have a few of them that we can't get to today, losing their minds over Trump, losing their minds over MAGA. But I found one, ladies and gentlemen, for a guy that's not losing his mind over Trump. This is Cut 22. I gotta explain. This guy looks like he's in his, mid-20s, black guy, dreads, and the like. And so let me see what this guy has to say. I was actually surprised. Listen to this.
As soon as somebody say, Donald Trump is because of Donald Trump, I stop listening. Because y'all ain't had in 10 terms. 10 terms. It don't matter who the president has been. You ain't had through none of the presidencies. And all of a sudden, you got a political opinion. It's irritating for real. Y'all just be needing somebody to blame for y'all own pitfalls. Donald Trump the reason you ain't got no money. Donald Trump the reason your rent too high. Donald Trump the reason white people racist. Donald Trump the reason you ain't got no license, registration, proof of insurance. I guess Donald Trump the reason you ate, smoked, gambled, or drank away your last $50 and can't afford to put gas in your tank now too. He the reason why you went out to the club with your last little money and can't afford to pay your rent now. If you ask me, he lighting the way for you dummies. You got like 3.5 years to get rich. After that, who knows what it's going to be. The stock market is lit up. Crypto is lit up. Gold is the highest it's ever been. But I forgot y'all ain't investing gold because y'all wasn't listening 10 years ago. Y'all wouldn't listen to me about crypto because you called it fake money. Now look at you.
The guy's pretty. That was a that was classic. All right, let me remind you of this before we head to a break. This Sunday, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, and our team needs your help right now, please. Every dollar counts. Every host here at Red Apple Audio Network must rally their loyal audience, and I'm rallying you, my loyal audience, to participate. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help your favorite host and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Help us raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Never forget, please. America's heroes, what they do for us, what they have done for us. Go to redappleaudionetworks.com/walk.
The James Golden Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The James Golden Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
With us now, America's small caffeinated mom, Rhonda Schrock. Good morning, Rhonda.
Good morning, James. I sure wish I did not know what you're talking about with that awful spray that kid used. Unfortunately, having had 4 sons, a little bottle of that got smuggled in to the house, and it is called, and I'm only reporting here, liquid ass. And so when that gets sprayed on someone's sleeping bag, it ends up in a whole house fumigation. I kid you not. And I let them live. To tell about it. Oh, my goodness.
Hilarious.
My reparations, that's all I'm saying.
What do you have from us this morning? Wanted to besides some liquid. Never mind.
I know. Moving along. Recently, we purchased a pair of matching occasional chairs in a beautiful striped pattern, and we put them in our master suite. Well, no sooner had we placed those 2 chairs down than 2 other things landed squarely in them, and that is the behinds of some of the perpetrators that I just spoke about. Every night, those guys have started a new ritual. They come in as their father and I are getting ready for bed, and they just plop in those chairs or on the floor, and they just hang out with us as we're getting ready for bed. And sometimes we're just having a 4-way conversation, just chatting about the day. Sometimes we're just quiet because my husband is playing music, and we're just kind of blissing out, just the 4 of us together. And then eventually they'll get up, and they'll come kiss us goodnight, and they'll go out, and the door's closed behind them. Well, the other day I was thinking about that new little ritual, and I realized what they are receiving in that time, in those chairs, in that room with us late at night. Those grown children of ours are receiving comfort, connection, and bonding, and not just with their father and I, but with each other. It is a lovely thing that in an increasingly divided, loud, chaotic world, they know that their home is a place of solace and calm. And those two striped chairs are the symbols of that. Well, as I look at the landscape of American families, James, there is a lot to be genuinely concerned about. I have friends in the healing professions, and they tell me that their waiting rooms and exam rooms are full of kids who are struggling terribly with anxiety and depression. And not only are they anxious and depressed, but many of them are confused about their intrinsic biology. And it makes me so sad that the truth of their own bodies is not enough. These kids doubt their very gender, the basic building block of life, and they don't know how to exist in the world as they are. And so, you know, you've talked many times about the solutions that they reach for, which really can never cure the inner condition that's causing them so much pain. The moral relativism is not coming from the children. It's starting with the parents, because so many parents adults have lost their moral compass. And that moral relativism is metastasizing. It is a cancer that is metastasizing in this country, and it is showing up in our families. I love what Pope John Paul II said. As the family goes, so goes the nation, and so goes the whole world in which we live. And upon reflecting, I believe that the change must begin in our homes. It is not on the children to guide the family. In fact, it is disastrous when children are in charge of the family. They long for the stability of being guided by parents who are guiding themselves well. In other words, parents have to be firmly grounded on truth. They have to have a North Star. They have to possess a solid moral framework, or they don't have one to transmit. If we as parents are being tossed about by the prevailing winds of culture, if we are falling prey to peer pressure, and I know that we as parents can feel peer pressure, I have felt it, then the children will follow. They will follow what they are seeing modeled in their homes most of the time. And I've learned that I cannot ask my children to be and do things that I'm not willing to be and do. It is on me and my husband to be the mature, wise, loving adults and examples. And now that our sons are grown, we have learned that, of course, we can't control their decisions. But by living upright, moral, healthy lives in front of them as they're growing, we give them the best possible chance to grow up and be people who make wise decisions. I well know, James, that it is not possible to be a perfect parent. If there was ever anything I wanted to be perfect at, it was mothering. I wish I was a perfect mother, but I'm not. And I can tell you how humbling it is to see how quickly my children would forgive me when I made a mistake and I asked their forgiveness, and thrilling to see how eagerly they would follow when my husband and I would admit our mistakes and begin to teach them the new way that we were learning, how we were learning to do it better. And as we learned, we would just turn around and teach it to them. And so as we progressed and got healthier and more mature, we did our best to bring them along with us. So I believe, based on my experience, that humility and the transmission of core values is at the heart of a strong and loving home. And now back to those two chairs. They are so much more than just a place to sit at night. They symbolize what our family has become: a refuge, a circle to belong, a citadel of unconditional acceptance and love. It is an actual cocoon of warmth and light as the nighttime falls. And in the morning, those grown sons of ours go back out into the world, and everywhere that they go, they carry the goodness and the beauty of love's consolation. because they know that it is waiting for them again at day's end. And even when they move away, they leave home and they're all across this United States, they will call home and they will still experience that love and consolation here on the home end. To everyone who did not experience a home like this, I want you to hear me now. You can create one. You are not bound, you're not consigned, you're not doomed to old patterns and old ways, no matter how destructive or dysfunctional they were. You have every ability to choose to guide your home to live in a new and better way. To those of you whose children are grown and you're so disappointed in the results, I implore you, give yourself to prayer. Ground your own self in love, capital L, love. Pour out your unconditional love and acceptance, no matter what, on those precious kids of yours. And then keep the light on. Keep your doors open. Keep your own heart soft and free, and put your own chairs out. Because you never know. You never know. You may see a miracle, and those empty chairs might be full one day, just like mine are. That's what I'm thinking about today.
So beautiful. Rhonda, where can people find your essay?
The Two Chairs is on thedailybs.com today.
And people can find you?
RhondaSchrock.com, SCHROCK.
Ronnie, you know, it occurred to me that what you've talked about here, I made fun of this when I first heard it, when Gwyneth Paltrow came out with this conscious uncoupling, but what you just talked about is conscious parenting. It's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure. It's always my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to The James Golden Show. You can hear The James Golden Show Saturday mornings at 7. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
This Sunday is the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, and our team is in need of your support. Right now, every dollar counts. The WABC hosts must all rally their loyal audience to participate. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk and help your favorite hosts right here at WABC and support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk. Help WABC raise money for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Go to WABCRadio.com/walk.